However, we do have a massive W to celebrate this week.
We do. It's been 148 days, Connor.
It has. But the WGA strike is soon to be over. The deal is agreed.
It's officially ended.
It was the last day of the strike today.
Yep.
So the strike is officially over. They have agreed a deal. They didn't get everything they wanted.
No,
Originally, I was getting ready to come into this episode with jokes because I didn't think it was actually going to go through because the AMPTP, the Union for Producers, basically said this is our best and final offer. To which everyone on Twitter collectively went, "The fuck do you mean this is your final offer? If they say no, are you just going to stop making films and television?"
Yeah, like.
But I mean, then the next day, WJ was like, "We're proud to announce we've managed to come to a deal." I don't think they've got the exact figures they were looking for with payment, but definitely closer to them than what the studios initially said.
Yes. There's they like all negotiations when this stuff happens. The WGA was never going to get exactly to the point of what they originally wanted. There is going to be some leeway, but all this is still progress in a much better direction from where it was.
There is always going to be a winner and a loser in negotiations. The WGA was the winner for sure. And the biggest thing is they got protection against AI, and they've got their share of the pie with streaming services. And not only have they got their share of the pie with streaming services, they've also got access to streaming services data.
Yes.
Which means they can keep an eye on the streaming services and make sure they're not trying to find other ways to try and take the piss. So this is an absolutely tremendous dub. They're being protected from AI. The writer's room, which was something that we know nothing about. Like we've never been a part of a writer's room, obviously. But that was something writers on the picket lines were very concerned about. They were like, it feels like every project I'm working on, there's less and less writers in the writer's room now, and it affects the quality of the show because there are less minds working together to make it as good as possible. In any kind of creative environment, working together, collaboration, getting another set of eyes on stuff always improves the quality. So now I believe the way it's working is there's like different levels of like writing. Whether it's like the pilot, full production rewrites, and they have now set minimums for each of them stages. So like the pre-writes is like a minimum of like 10 writers guaranteed work for 6 weeks, and then like the full writing is like 12 weeks minimum of 12 writers or whatever, and then rewrites are like 5 writers for however many weeks. I don't know if they're the exact numbers, but that's the general idea.
Yes, there's a lot of different things. Like you say, some big points on AI, like they can't use it, like studios aren't able to use AI to write or rewrite literary materials, like books. They can't take like Lord of the Rings and get an AI to rewrite it and then be like, well, we own all this now. There was stuff like a writer can use AI if they want, but a studio can't require them to. So AI can't be forced on any of these people, and the studios have to disclose if anything they give to the writers is from AI. So they can't be like, oh, we got this. They have to say it was done by AI. And it's like basically everything is in the writer's hand on how they use AI, not in the studio's hand.
As far as I'm concerned, the only chance we have of using AI in a creative way safely is if it is a tool for the creative person.
Yes.
Just like spell check.
And like you said as well, streaming sites have to now disclose their details under NDAs, obviously, but these streaming sites have to tell the studios how many people are watching, how like viewership, total hours watched. There is now better residuals from those streaming sites. Like half-hour episodes, 1 hour episodes have gone up, and if it's movies, everything's like increased massively there for those people.
So don't be surprised when all the streaming services try and bump up prices in a little while. because they're not going to take that additional hit. They're going to find a way to make the money back.
Unfortunately, yeah. And another one, I'm going through like pulling out the things. The thing about number of writers, so it's if there's 6 or fewer episodes, there has to be 3 writers in the room and 3 writer producers in the room. If it's 7 to 12, that goes up to 5 and 3. If it's 13 plus, it's 6 and 3. So basically,
There you go.
number of producers doesn't change, but the number of amount of writers in there goes up. And I think their term of employment, they have a minimum wage they get if it's up to 9 weeks, 10 to 19, or 20 plus. And
Awesome.
then also their position has minimum rates that has to be hit.
At the end of the day, me and you are not qualified to say whether this is a good deal or not.
No.
However, the WGA feel like they've won.
Mm-hmm.
The writers they were fighting for feel like they've won.
Yep.
So we've got to trust that the organisation we've been supporting this entire time are right.
Yep.
And in fact, this is a good deal, and the writers are going to be looked after again. It sucks that it took this long for studios to pull their head out of their arse. Fuck CEOs. That's not changing just because they're starting to cave. I've always hated CEOs, and I'll probably hate them until the day I die.
Yeah.
Which is why if we ever get anywhere, Hori is going to be the CEO.
And while this is a huge W for the WGA, not to forget that SAG-AFTRA is still striking. They are still in the process of getting their deal.
So as far as I know, the WGA had previously said they would not go back to work until SAG-AFTRA was sorted. I assume that is still the case, but I do not know.
I think WGA has announced that people, like their union workers, could go back to work as of a certain date. I don't know what that was. That would make me think everything is kind of in agreement. Maybe SAG-AFTRA has a deal that's just not been announced yet and is being finalized.
Or maybe SAG-AFTRA have said, no, you guys go and get back to work so that we've got stuff to record once we've got our slice of the pie.
Yeah. So,
but the SAG-AFTRA situation is really, really interesting.
Go on.
Because they voted to strike video game voice acting. Yeah. But that doesn't start yet. They need to go through another batch of like negotiations.
Right.
And then that strike will start. Yeah.
Yep.
But there's more negotiations due to start happening Monday.
Yes.
So then negotiations on Monday now aren't just to try and end the strikes. It's also to potentially avoid even widespread strike, like even further strikes.
Yep.
I would like to think that the writers being sorted will get them to pull their finger out and get the actors back to work. But what I will say is the actors have ironically been on strike for exactly half the time the writers were on strike for.
Yeah.
So I do wonder, are they going to follow the exact same playbook and then in another 73 days, the actors will get the deal they want? And then there'll be 3 months of writing that can be caught up on. And then everyone will be done. It would have been about 5 months of strikes for each parties over a span of like 7 months. And then everything's sorted. I want the strikes over because I want the actors looked after.
Yes.
Not because I'm worried about what I'm going to watch.
We want it over with them getting the deal that they deserve. And I hope that, like you say, hopefully now that WGA's got their deal, AMTP or whatever it is.
AMPTP.
Yeah. Oh, like, okay, here, let's get you sorted as well. Let's get this back to going. Yeah. Part of me does worry, though, that they're going to use this success with the WGA and be like, look, your WGA lot have all decided on this. Here's your deal, and it's going to be like a scummy deal, and they're trying to force them to take it because the WGA is going back to work and try and like pressure them that way. And I hope that doesn't happen. Or if it does, I hope SAG-AFTRA's like, fuck you, no, we'll keep striking if we have to. Don't try and screw us now. So
I hope it is resolved quickly so that them lower income actors can get back to working and probably not be as stressed about money. Because I'm
yes.
sure right now there are a number of actors who are shitting a brick about how much longer these strikes are going to go on for. Um, and all I can say to them is stay strong, fuck the CEOs, you will win eventually. We
Yeah,
hope.
we do.
But I'd say overall, that's probably one of the best updates we've been able to give on these strikes.
Yes, it is.
Stuff's going in the right direction.
Yes, it is.
That's about as much as we can ever hope for in situations like this. And hopefully, clowns at the top of organizations are going to quickly realize that they work for the writers and the actors and the runners and everyone else who makes this stuff happen, not the other way around.
Yeah,